This is a cabinet, and you probably have one in your kitchen. And we believe that every woodworker should try building a cabinet at least once. This is 3 levels of cabinets.
I'm Jordan. I've been building for about a year now, and for this cabinet, it's gonna be super simple. Just gonna be a basic full overlay frameless cabinet with 1 door and 1 drawer. So now that I got most of the pieces cut out, I'm gonna take the 2 carcass sides together, and then you could do blue tape trick, but I was feeling very lazy, so I just clamped them. We're gonna make our toe kick. That's money. Cut that out. I'll probably just use the jigsaw. Little tip if you're building cabinets by yourself, like what I always do here, take the screw clamp. I think they're technically C-clamps. Take them like that, it will let the panel stand by itself. Just make sure you have like a really flat surface. So this is my front toe kick piece. I put pocket holes up this way for our bottom panel just to help it seat down. And since we don't really want to see it, we're gonna position this like that. Wow, fancy. She's a sturdy gal. I'm assembling the drawer box. We're just gonna pocket hole these together, groove for the bottom panel. Have your pocket holes facing outside because we're gonna put a face on this and you'll never see it. And the back piece, you'll never see that unless you're a freak and rip the cabinet or the drawer out. I put my sides up and then I take a clamp and give it a little squeeze. Because whenever you have pocket holes, they tend to shift on you a little bit. So this helps. The back of the drawer panel shorter on purpose. So to do that, flip this over because I want this in line with that bottom groove, or even just like a little lower now. That way we can slide our panel in and she'll be good to go. Oh my God, I forgot the glue. Holy cow, hold on. Sam one day realized I was struggling how to install drawer slides, and he showed me this nifty tip to make it a lot easier. Mark your center line on your drawer, and then you want to line that center line up directly through there.
I got her.
You should pre-drill this, but. They're soft close, you jag.
Jordan.
You normally shim a cabinet, and that's why you have a toe kick piece, so.
Fix that jank ass shit. Making DIY, looks real DIY in here.
I think it's fine. My cabinet. So I put down a piece of blue tape, so I write on that instead of the cabinet. Boop. That is the exact center of my drawer face. I believe these are 3 inches, but we'll go 1.5 inches. Send food. Fuck it.
It's 9:45.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I couldn't be starving at 9:45. That is where my hole should go. Last thing to do is finish. Let us spray.
I'm Sam, and I've been building for about 5 years. For my cabinet today, we're gonna keep a simple frameless cabinet. We're gonna add some hardwood edge banding to that thing, spice it up a little bit. We're gonna shake it up with some shaker style doors and drawers. Gonna do those on the table saw. We'll show you a couple little tricks there, and then we may even get fancy with some box joints for the drawer. Check it out. Step 1, we're gonna cut some plywood.
You need help?
No, I like to struggle. Oh God, it's gonna kill me.
You need help?
No. For these projects, don't forget, plans are available. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I follow this plan, because 1, I'm an idiot, and 2, I wanna make sure that this is something that the plan works and you guys can do it too. So if you like any of the 3 projects that we're doing today, make sure you're down in the description, checking out them links and picking up one of these cabinets. And if you do make one of the cabinets, I recommend you make mine. It's the coolest. Share the love, get squirrely, and have some fun, guys. Now, all the plywood parts are cut so we can start assembling our carcass, but I went ahead and used the table saw to cut all these pieces. If you have a smaller table saw or just don't feel safe doing it, there's plenty of other ways to cut down plywood like that. Track saws, straight edges, and circular saws. Be safe out there. Get squirrely from time to time, but do it safely. Okay, next step, we're going to take the side pieces and add the grooves and dados for the panels so we can put this thing together.
Maybe you should draw your own cabinets.
Jordan, I went to art school. Now we're gonna go ahead and assemble. For the stretchers that hold together the top and the back where you would screw this cabinet into the wall and attach a countertop to it, I'm just using pocket holes and glue. It'll all be hidden, it all looks great, and I think it's the right application here. I should have done this before. Gluing shit together. And just like that, we have a cabinet. Next, we have the back panel, the doors, the drawers, the hinges. But I'm hungry, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll finish this in the morning. But for you, ready, since we're frameless, I needed something for the doors to hit against because it's an overlay faceless. It hides all that hardware, it just keeps it cleaner. Just because you're using limited materials and limited tools doesn't mean it has to be terrible. You just take your time, make sure things are flush, make sure things are square, and you can make great stuff with only okay materials and tools. It's time to mill some lumber. We have all the pieces cut for the doors, drawers, rail styles, drawer bits. The next step is to put the groove in for the plywood paneling. And I want it to be centered as a 1/4 inch because I'm going to use 1/4 inch plywood for my paneling. So if you put the blade a 1/4 inch away, you're able to then push it through once, flip it over, push it through again, 1/4 inch groove perfectly centered. So we have the tenon. I've set up kind of a little jig here. I've got a stop block on the fence at my 1/4 inch tenon length. I've got a square crosscut sled with a sacrificial fence, so that way we don't get any blowout. Keep things a little bit nicer.
But Sam, what pieces get the tenon? What's the name for the piece?
Rails.
Yes, let's do it to it.
Okay, the next step is going to be cutting the box joints. We did a couple tests. Is there a motorcycle inside? We did a test, she works. Now I have my pieces laid out. Let's cut some box joints. I goofed. I made my box joints for my drawer. I had all the grooves in it. She don't line up. This thing's looking really, really good up to this point. We're just gonna recut the grooves and then I'll plug those for the front too and then we'll move on. I'm just gonna put glue on everything. Finally, to glue up, some mistakes were made, things were rebuilt. I accidentally built the plans around the wrong measurements for the styles on the doors. They were wrong. In the plan, we fixed it. You guys are good. It's all the same steps as before, so if you're confused on why they look skinnier in the video, I fixed it. So, Spaceballs. Have you heard of these things? I know you guys have.
It's kind of amazing how fast they deliver since they're coming from space.
The last thing to do is put some finish on it. Let us spray!
All right, so there's only one thing left to do before I jump into my project, and that's feed the muscles and maybe the team. Let's go. So we are super stoked to have Pit Boss supporting the channel once again this year. We are also amped for the fact that it is above 12 degrees outside, so we're getting back to grilling. If you guys want to see more from the Pit Boss, especially the Pro Series, I got links down below. You got to check these things out. They're sick. Now let's go eat. I've been building for about 8 years, and some may consider me to be a pro. For my build, we're gonna step it up a notch with more customization, you could call it. We're gonna make my entire cabinet a little bit more shallow. We're going to do some raised panel doors. We're gonna do some cope and stick with the bead mold on the doors and on some solid wood side panels. Should be a cool project. Let's get into it. I can't read.
He's supposed to teach me.
This reading thing keeps coming back to bite me. Forgot a few parts. How to make a curve.
You read?
You okay today?
No. I don't even know what the I'm doing in the shop anymore. All right, son, trace that curve. Yeah, pro using pocket holes for cabinets. Yeah. Hydration is key. So instead of doing these on the table saw like Sam did, we're gonna do this cope and stick method here, which will put a bead on the interior of our rails and stiles, which should look super sharp. So fire up the old router table here, and let's make some profiles. So here's what we're doing. This is super cool. It creates a profile. This is gonna be your cope, and this is essentially what the stick is. I think it's why it's called cope and stick. It allows you to encapsulate and capture the profile on the other side, and then you can make your panels pretty much look awesome and perfect. We're tuned in. It's just snug enough that with a little bit of glue, it should be nice and tight. Let's run these things. Putting a raised panel in because those are fun and they look a little better when you have these kind of details. Let me show you how we do it. We've already got the router table set up. This is one of those things that's like, make sure you're confident in your tool. That's a huge bit, and also very high speed. Can get dangerous quick, so be safe, my children, be safe. All right, so before I put these together, I have to sand the interior and pre-finish the inside of the panel. So as it shrinks and expands and contracts we don't end up with a panel that has like a line of unfinished jankiness. So excuse me while I do this. Apply a liberal amount of glue and then squeeze her in there with some space balls. Space balls, space balls. Space balls are quite important in this sort of application because it's hardwood. It's a complete wood panel. It's gonna move. So I only need one side to side. Whoosh. This looks slightly above average. Oh, look at that! That's a new shirt. I don't even have one of those, Jordan.
You have to be slightly above average to get one.
No, jag off. You get it at shop.johnmalecki.com. All of the solid wood parts are done, which means it's time to build a carcass. So, for the sake of time, I'm gonna pin this box together and screw everything from the outside. Every face will be covered with a panel or the face frame, so you're not gonna see any of the external screws, which puts me in a position to move much, much quicker. I won't have to cut pocket holes or dados or biscuits or anything like that. It's just my preference for all you haters out there. So let's rip this thing together real quick. So to attach the frame to the face, we're gonna use biscuits because biscuits are delicious, and even though I can't eat them, I can still play with them. We're going to space everything before we put our stuff together. So I'm gonna make sure these are as even as I can get them because everything's gonna need to be pre-finished. So we'll just go through the laborious process of squaring all of our doors and drawer fronts. Fortunately, there's only 3 things. Because of the nature of this project, we're just gonna pre-stain everything, so that way the carcass just doesn't get the plywood or anything covered in stain. Because I already did the insides of the doors, I can just come back, hit it with that wiperoo. Glue your biscuit in first. Don't try to float them. That way, makes this application super easy. So we're gonna get this thing clamped on, and then we're gonna get working on hanging the doors, and then final finish. We're in the home stretch. Oh, I gotta build a drawer too. She's a beaut, Clark.
It's a beaut, Clark, it's a beaut.
The stain is dry, and I will say that these look slightly above average. So now we gotta finish the drawer box and the rest of this carcass. We are gonna do a dovetailed drawer box, and I got this fancy new blade for the table saw. It's got a 7-degree angle on the top here, and I can cut my dovetails on the table saw, and they'll still have a hand cut kind of vibe. So we're gonna give this a shot for this construction. I'll do the pins on the long boards by hand, and then we'll cut some grooves and put a bottom of this thing and have a box. Hello. I'm gonna put the box together and cut the relief for the bottom panel in with the slot cutter. That way there's no like through, there's no, yeah, rules. Shall we? Cut the drawer bottom, put the drawer together. Get the sucker glued up and I can go ahead and get the doors hung. We're almost home free on this SOB. These are probably the best dovetails I've ever cut. Should I teach Sam and Jordan how to do dovetails? What do you guys think? Leave a comment. Son, do you want to learn the ways of the dove? Go to your home. I'm going to hang the doors before we put the back on so I can have literally this access. I've got the back mocked in with spacers on the bottom. These hinges that we have are micro adjustable. So once I have the hinges located, I can go ahead, spray the whole thing, and then adjust the doors if they need a little bit with the hinges themselves. I'm a dumbass is a dumbass. And I forgot when you have an inset door like this, someone's gotta stop that door. So I just made a little decorative corner and that'll stop the door from opening inside itself. What's your name? Why are you here? And now the only thing left is finish. Let us spray. And that's gonna be a wrap on this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you wanna build these yourselves, we got a bundle. You could buy and build all 3 of these different variations. I have to give credit to both of them. Incredible job, boys.
That's right, thank you.
And if you wanna see more of our 3 levels projects, I got a playlist for you right here over Jordan's face.